Hello, welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another in a series of wheel videos. If you've been watching the channel, I've got some head videos out there and some internal nipple video out there. So I've been talking about wheels just recently, and I want to talk about these Shimano Dura-Ace 9100 wheels just because it's one of my favorite wheels alongside like those head wheels in the aluminum rim brake version. Okay, but before we go into the topic of today, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. I really appreciate everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't, please do so. It's free and it's a great way to support the channel. So I'd like to talk to you about these Shimano rim brake wheels that are the R9100 wheels, and they're 11-speed wheels. And you're probably wondering, why is this guy still talking about rim brake, and why is he talking about 11-speed wheels? Well, here's the thing. There is a very large segment of bikes that have been out there a long time of 9-speed, 10-speed, 11-speed wheels, 11-speed drivetrains, and they still need wheels. And the R9200, which is the 12-speed Shimano Dura-Ace level, and then the Ultegra level, both of those are now 12-speed. However, they did something really smart. They made their 12-speed cassette backwards compatible, so you can put that onto your 11-speed wheel set. So you can still buy an 11-speed wheel set if you're trying to convert over to a 12-speed drivetrain, or 11-speed wheel set if you need an 11-speed wheel set, and a nice high-end one at that. So with other brands, when they moved over to 12-speed, that driver changed completely, and so a regular cassette is no longer like this with the grooves and everything. It is a much bigger cassette, and then everything gets screwed onto the Freehub body, especially like with SRAM. So anyway, that's why we're still talking about rim brake. That's why we're still talking about 11-speed. So this is the 9100 C24, and as the name implies, that is the rim depth. So on the rear wheel, this is a 24 millimeter rim depth, and on the front wheel, this is 21. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the rim, how the rim is made and why it's different, the spokes, what they do different than other wheel builders. We're going to talk about the hubs, and we're going to talk about the internals of the hub. So let's start with the rim. The rim is a 20.8 width rim. So if you take a look at that, 20.8. Now we'll talk a little bit later about what my feelings are about 20.8. If you recall, on the head Ardennes wheels, those are 25 millimeters wide. So this is now a 20.8. So let's just call it 21 just to round things up and make the math nice and easy. So the head wheel is 4 millimeters wider. But this is part of Shimano's acceleration series of wheels. And when this came out as the 9000, the C25 and the C35, C24 and C35, so 35 rim depth, were part of their acceleration. So light, stiff, wheels that you can spin up really quick, and also ride quality was a big thing for them. So they didn't do the wide rim yet, right? So you have their other wheels, the aerodynamic wheels they call the Blade series of wheels. Those were deeper and were also wider, up to about 24 millimeters. So they did adopt the wider rim profile width, but not in their acceleration series of wheels. So that's the width. Now, the width and the rim depth. But let's talk about how these rims are made, because I don't think most people realize that this black, this is not paint, this is actual carbon. So let me take you through the process of what they do. So they will take a thin wall aluminum extrusion, and they will then form it into a rim, and then they will layer, they machine a lot of the excess, and that's finger quotes on excess. So they're trying to make a very stiff rim. And what they're doing is, when they do this, they can then layer up the carbon and reinforce the areas like here where the spokes attach to the rim. So what you have is a very thin rim layered with carbon, and these rims are very light. The front rim is 359 grams and the rear rim is 408. Now you might have noticed the difference between the way these two rims are made. You'll notice this one is it's got a symmetrical, or they look the same on both sides. But now look at this wheel and notice how it's got a little bit of an offset. And so the rear rim is an offset rim, and this is a way that they can do the proper balance and high torsional rigidity on these wheels. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is how they did their hubs. Now their hubs had very wide flanges, so they went wider than you would on other hubs, and this allowed them to create a much better angle on how these spokes are coming from the hub flange to the rim. And also what they were able to do is, they call it opt-bal, so optimized balance. So what they've done is they are able to have the same spoke tension on both sides. So the non-drive side and the drive side spokes have the same tension. And this is not common. Most wheels are built with the drive side having a higher tension and the non-drive side having less tension. Of course, on the front, this is a radial setup. This is cross. This is radial. And this will have the same spoke tension on either side anyway. That's just the way front wheels are generally built. While we're on the subject of the spokes and the spoke tension, the front wheel is a 16 spoke front, and the rear wheel is a 20 spoke rear. So this is a very low spoke count wheel, 16 front and 20 rear. But based on the build quality, they can get away with it. All right, so we've got the, we've spoken about the rim on how it's made. We've spoken about the spokes. And now let's talk about, or let's continue to talk about the hub, because we already mentioned that it's got this extra wide flange. But what they've also done, which is just attention to detail on their end. First of all, it's a titanium Freehub body, but you can get that on other wheels. Here's where things get really, really interesting for this wheel set and Shimano. Shimano uses a loose ball system, and that means that you do not have a cartridge bearing like this. Now this is for a bottom bracket, but I wanted something big enough so that it would show up well on the video for you. So this is a cartridge bearing, but Shimano doesn't like to use cartridge bearings on their wheels. So going from even their entry-level wheels all the way up to their top-end wheels, the Dura-Ace wheels, they will all have loose ball bearings, and they are laser matched. So this is not just, let's just throw some bearings in there and let's just hope for the best. These are laser matched for roundness and finish, so that it is a very, very well machined ball bearing. And then you have an extra, or I should say an oversized aluminum axle, which then provides a lot of stiffness in the hub area. So now you take the oversized axle, you take the angular contact bearings, the cup and cone setup, and you're able to do the adjustment on these hubs. They call it the digital adjustment system. Digital, think about your fingers. And you can do all of that with your hands, whereas with a lot of other wheels, you need spanner wrenches, and you got to loosen up this, loosen up that, and then tighten it down. This, you can do this with your hands, and then you really just need a set of hex wrenches. So this is something you could do at home if you're someone that wants to work on your own stuff. You don't need to order new cartridge bearings whenever they're a little bit notchy. And here's the thing. You know, we have a supply system shortage now. This is November of 2021. And believe it or not, even bearings are out of stock of all kinds, right? So if you just have to take this out, clean the bearings. I'll be working late tonight, if it seems. You clean out the bearings, re-lube them, put it all back together, and you can do this at home. You don't need to order any parts. It's all there. And so that's something that makes these wheels easy to service. If you know from the videos I've been watching, easy to service, easy to maintain. This is very, very important, especially if you spend a lot of time. And if you look closely here, the Freehub body is, as I mentioned, titanium, but you can now, based on the way the 12-speed cassette is, you're going to be able to put a 12-speed cassette on this Freehub body. So, you know, the compatibility moving forward is really important. And, you know, if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm a big fan of rim brake bikes in particular. Okay, so we've talked about the rim design, we've talked about the uniform spoke tension, we've talked about the hub, how it's got extra wide flanges. We've talked about the spoke tension, of course, again with the hub, just the way the hub is designed allows that. We talked about the rear axle being an oversized. We've talked about the laser matched bearings. What we haven't talked about is their warranty. So the warranty is 3 years, and that's anything on Dura-Ace products. So whether that be your shifters, your pedals, your wheels, it's a 3-year warranty. Now, that 3-year warranty is not hard and fast. I've been in the bike business now since 2003, and I've seen a lot of things that Shimano will be like, yeah, you know, it's good faith. Let's just replace that. Maybe it's a known issue, but the customer never got around to doing the warranty and the 3 years have passed. They'll still do that. Also, as a shop owner and even as a store manager, I could always say to them, you know, this is a pretty good customer. It's a very important customer to me. And Shimano will do whatever it takes to keep them riding a Dura-Ace product, because that's that's what the customer put their trust in, a Dura-Ace product. Now, the other thing is, Shimano was so confident that you would enjoy the ride quality of these wheels that they offered a ride guarantee. Now, I mean, that's unheard of, right? I'm going to ride these wheels. I don't like them. I can turn them back in and get a refund. That's insane, right? But they do that. And, or they did that. I haven't checked recently if they still offer that. But, you know, that's how confident they are that the ride quality is there and the workmanship is there. And you could either, you know, buy another 9,000 product at the time, another wheel set, or a refund through the shop. So I just love these wheels. But as I mentioned before, that 20.8 or that 21 millimeter thing, if there's one knock, I mean, the only thing I could say that I don't like about these wheels in today's environment is that they're just not wide enough for today's wider tire applications. 25 is pretty standard. I see a lot of 28 tires come through here now, installed on bikes and also as OE, original equipment from the manufacturer, so from the bike manufacturer. You also get, you know, besides your skewers, you're also going to get your spoke wrench. You get a spacer in case you're running 10-speed cassette or something, and you get wheel bags. So, you know, all that for about $11.50. And this is a premium wheel set, so it is an expensive aluminum rim wheel set, but it's a premium wheel set with a good warranty with obviously the largest component manufacturer in the world. Okay, that's all for today. I do appreciate your time and your attention. If you have any questions, please drop them below. In the meantime, like and subscribe, and we will see you up the road.